Trumpeter swans. Wow. We are so lucky here in the Blackfoot Valley to have these big, beautiful birds living in our watershed. I'd like to tell you a bit about trumpeter swans and how a lot of people in our area are helping to restore their population in our part of the world. My name is Elaine Caton, and I work for the Blackfoot Challenge, which is an organization based in Ovando. I'll start by telling you about the swans themselves, a bit about their biology and ecology, or how they live in their environment. Trumpeter swans are big. They're the biggest waterfowl species in North America, which is the only place in the world where they live. They have a wingspan of 7 to 8 feet. So that means if they stretch out their wings from wingtip to wingtip, they're wider than almost any person is tall. They stand about 4 feet high, and they weigh between 20 and 30 pounds. They're considered a species of special concern in Montana because there aren't very many of them here. This is why they're called trumpeter swans. Trumpeters live for 20 to 30 years, and they usually mate for life. They lay 4 to 6 eggs per year in a nest that's made out of cattails, rushes, or sedges, in other words, aquatic plants, and their nests are usually on a beaver or muskrat lodge or an island, which helps keep them safe from predators on land. They mostly eat submergent and emergent plants. So what are those? Well, submergent plants grow completely beneath the surface of the water, while emergent plants are ones that are rooted in the soil at the bottom of a shallow lake or wetland, but they grow up into the air above the water's surface, like these cattails. So you'll often see swans doing this while they're feeding on plants below the water surface. It may look kind of silly, but it gets the job done. Good thing they have those long necks to stretch down and get those submergent plants. Because they rely on these plants, trumpeter swans need large, shallow wetlands for nesting and feeding. Trumpeters were once widespread across almost the whole northern part of North America, where the yellow is on this map. But their population was decimated by hunting for their skins and feathers in the 16 to 1800s, when they were used to make decorations for fancy hats, swanskin robes for European royalty, and their feathers were used for quill pens. Trumpeters were almost extinct by the early 1900s. Even back then, people were worried about extinctions, having seen several species, such as passenger pigeons, go extinct in their lifetimes. But a small group of trumpeters was found in the Centennial Valley of Montana near Yellowstone Park in 1935. Biologists and resource managers protected the swans found in the Centennial Valley and began to reintroduce swans to other parts of Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho using the chicks produced by these birds. Today, there are over 35,000 trumpeter swans in all of North America, and a few hundred trumpeters live in Montana. So what's the story with trumpeter swans in the Blackfoot Watershed? Well, first of all, when we talk about the Blackfoot Watershed, we're talking about the whole area where the water, snow or rain, that falls there drains into the Blackfoot River. So this goes from east of Lincoln all the way down to Bonner. If you see your community in this map, you're part of the Blackfoot Watershed. In 2003, a pair of wild trumpeters nested in a wetland at Louis Boma's post and pole yard near Lincoln. In the middle of one night in June, while they were incubating their eggs, the power went out at the Boma's house and business. When Louis went out to see what the problem was, he found the female swan dead on the ground under the power line. She had gotten off the nest, probably to feed at another wetland, and had flown into the wires and broke her neck. Now, Louis and his wife Trudy love birds, and they were very unhappy to see what had happened. But fortunately, they were quick thinking, and Louis collected the eggs and put them in a bucket with a heating pad. and then he called some biologists he knew who cared about the swans too, and the biologists took the eggs to the Montana Waterfowl Foundation, where they were placed in the nest of a captive pair of swans. 3 of those 4 eggs hatched, and the chicks, which are called cygnets, were raised through the summer by a surrogate pair of swans that had no chicks of their own. Meanwhile, back at Louis's wetland near Lincoln, the male swan was still there, but no longer had a family or even a mate. So in late summer, the decision was made to bring the half-grown cygnets back to him so they could finish growing up in the spot their parents had chosen. This was a tense and uncertain moment for the people watching because we really weren't sure if the father swan would accept the young ones or try to attack them as intruders in his territory. But luckily, he took them right under his protection as if they'd been hatched there months earlier. And that was the start of Trumpeter Swans returning to the Blackfoot. Lots of people were excited to see them try to come back to the area, but they also realized that they might need some help, because there still just weren't that many swans in Montana that could help grow the population. So first, biologists studied the habitat in the Blackfoot Watershed and determined that there were enough healthy wetlands to support a swan population here. And in 2005, the Blackfoot Challenge and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service began to release young swans each year that had been raised in captivity. These swan releases are attended by school kids from every elementary school in the watershed, and lots of other folks too, who love to see the swans close up and learn more about them, including Louis, whose concern and quick thinking helped to start all this. We put collars and bands on the swans before they're released. Their collars and bands help us keep track of them and learn things like where they go in the winter, how many of them survive, and which ones nest successfully. Since 2005, over 200 swans have been released in the Blackfoot. In 2011, we had our first nests here. And we've had more swans return and more cygnets hatch each year since then. Last summer, we had 8 nests and 18 cygnets. Maybe you've seen some of them when you've been driving or hiking around. Where do you think our swans go in the winter? Well, from the information we've gotten from people telling us about seeing our banded swans, it looks like most of them migrate south to southwestern Montana and to Idaho, where there's more open water than there is in the Blackfoot in the winter. Swans still face some dangers, of course. Here are some of the most common ones. Lead poisoning, from swallowing lead shots and sinkers when they're feeding on the plants in the wetlands or fields. Illegal shooting. Habitat loss. Running into power lines and fences. And although not many animals would be able to catch and kill an adult swan, some predators definitely kill young ones. And parasites and disease can take some. In some areas, poisoning from lead shot and lead fishing gear is a real problem. So far, the greatest danger in the Blackfoot seems to be collisions with power lines, and our power company, the Missoula Electric Co-op, has put markers on a lot of power lines so that the swans can see them more easily and avoid them. This seems to have really helped. The Blackfoot Challenge has a website that anyone can go to look at where the swans have been sighted lately and to find out more about them. You can even be a citizen scientist yourself by entering information about where you see swans. Finally, if you have any questions about the trumpeter swans of the Blackfoot, just send me an email and I'll try to answer it. Or if you've seen any swans around, I'd love to hear about that too.